And it is a great pleasure to welcome back a man who has been with us several times before, and good to have him back here on the Book Talk segment of the show. Best-selling author Harlan Coben has a brand new book out called 6 Years, and he joined us now by telephone. Harlan, I think this is our third or fourth time having you on. Good to talk to you again. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you? How's everything down here?
I'm doing well here in Florida. You're up in Jersey, I understand, right?
Yeah, don't be envious. It's not as glamorous as it sounds. Yeah, that's where I am.
I lived in Jersey for a year once. I grew up in New York. I lived in Englewood Cliffs, so I know what it's like in the wintertime.
Beautiful, yeah.
First of all, congratulations again on the new book out. And this is kind of a departure from the previous one I guess we talked about, which was, I believe, a Myron Bolitar, one of your series books, right?
Yeah, this is a standalone. It's almost more 6 Years is almost more a love story than it is a thriller, but it's equal parts both. But this is one that stays by itself.
Yeah, this had a chance, and I don't.
Never read me. This is the one to start with.
I was going to say I don't like to give away too much when I have novelists on, but I know it's kind of a story where a man goes back and goes to meet people or hopes to meet people that he hasn't seen in a while, and things are different than he expects, right?
Yes. Well, the very first line of 6 Years is, I sat in the back pew and watched the only woman I would ever love marry another man.
That'll get you going.
The way we open up, the man is at the wedding of his beloved, absolutely crushed. So right away, I'm trying to engage you, trying to set the mood for the book.
Is that the hardest thing to write? Obviously, you need a plot and all that. That's one thing, but to get that first paragraph where you grab the reader, is that the most challenging for you?
In this case, no. Once I had the guy said, at the wedding of the girl he loves, it was actually not that difficult. What happens then next is after the wedding, she says, promise me you'll keep away from us. Promise me you'll respect my decision. Promise me you won't bother us. And the very last line of the first chapter is, I kept my promise for 6 years. 6 years pass. He sees an obituary for her husband. He goes to the funeral. She stands up. She turns around, and it's not the woman she loved. They never got married. No one knows where she is. No one has seen her in 6 years since that day in the chapel. He's got to find out what really happened.
And that's where the fun begins.
Yes.
What gave you the idea for this story? Anything in particular, or?
My guilty pleasure, if you will, is corny, mellow music. I was listening to a bunch of heartbreaking love story music, and that's what I kind of came up with. Well, let's start with this really heartbreaking scenario and see where it goes. So, why is he at this wedding? Does she still love him? What happened to the relationship? Why is she marrying somebody else? Why is he still carrying a torch for her? And they keep asking and asking and asking, and eventually something comes up.
Yeah, it's a great premise for a story. And I got a note earlier today, Harlan, from Peter over at the PR firm, and I understand this already has been commissioned for a movie. Am I right about that?
Yeah, it's the first time it's happened where I've had the 6 Years was optioned by Paramount Pictures for Hugh Jackman to play the lead. Hugh got an early advance copy and read it himself, and things started to roll right then. I think he got it. I mean, he really got it right away. He's a very intelligent guy and a good reader, and I was really thrilled, and I'm thrilled with the idea that we hopefully will make a movie together.
Well, nobody hotter in show business right now, of course, him with the Les Miserables movie recently, and the other series of movies that he does. So that's a good choice.
Yeah, well, I would have liked somebody good-looking and talented, but we had to settle for Hugh Jackman.
You could have played yourself in it, couldn't you, or a character?
Well, Hugh and I are often mistaken for one another anyway. So.
Now, I guess you've had other books made into movies, right, Harlan? What's that like?
Film was made into a very big French movie that was the largest grossing foreign film of the year here. In fact, if you have Netflix or Amazon Instant, you can stream it right away to your computer. So they did a really fantastic job. It won 4 of their Oscars, nominated for 9 of them.
Yeah, does that give you more work? Do you help with the screenplay, or once they commission it, is that it?
I don't know yet what my role is going to be with 6 Years. For the most part, though, I don't do much. I've already written the story for them. They can handle it from here.
They take the story and then they do the screenplay and all that stuff with it. But
usually, yes.
You get a couple of free tickets to the premiere, I guess, right?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. I better.
I know we've asked you this before, Harlan. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No, we have 4 kids, so we need at least 6 tickets.
Give you 6 at least, right?
Yeah, it better be.
I know I've asked you this before, but we have new listeners all the time. When you write a novel like this, story like this, the characters sometimes go in different directions. I know you've said that happened before. Did it happen in this book?
Always. We always twist and turn and go places I never expect. I mean, 6 years I want this to be the book that you take to bed tonight at 10 o'clock and you think, oh, I'll read for 10 or 15 minutes. Next thing you know, it's 5 in the morning and you're deliriously happy. And you have that kind of experience where you can't put a book down. I've written 24 novels. I don't think I've ever had an early reaction like I'm getting on 6 years. It's just been so much fun to watch so many people get into it so early on.
How long does it, I guess it must vary, but how long from concept to completion does it take you to write? And how much do you write every day? 10, 15 pages, or what are you trying to do?
I'm not good with every day. Some days I do really well. Some days I don't do anything at all. But it takes me about a year. I usually write one book a year. The last 2 years I've written 2 books a year, one for adults and then one for teenagers.
Right.
And that's been really kind of stressful, so I'm going to probably back off of that a little bit. But that's the process is trying. The hardest part, of course, is first coming up with that idea. Like I was explaining to you, why the man is at the wedding for the woman he loves. Why is he there? What happened? Where's she been for 6 years? Why did she? All these different questions that I need to ask myself and find an answer for. At least I know the ending before I start. I don't know anything in the middle, but I usually will know the ending.
You plot it out that way, and then occasionally it'll veer in a different direction, maybe as you're in the middle of writing, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the characters have to take you in different directions, and things arise as you write that you just don't expect. You can only see a little bit ahead of you when you write. So around that corner might be something you really don't expect.
Do you like writing the dialogue part? Is that fun for you, or is that harder?
I love dialogue because I find it entertaining to both read and write, and I find it probably the best way of making a character come to life. Defining a character by how they speak. More than anything else, more than how they dress, what they look like, what their job is, how they move. The way a person speaks really says volumes.
And do you talk that out into a tape recorder? How do you write the dialogue?
No, because a lot of times what you find is that something that might sound good doesn't necessarily look good on the written page. So no, it's just something I try to do. It's you keep working at it. It takes a lot of work to make it sound completely easy and natural.
Yeah, well, it's I'm sure going to be another huge bestseller for you. It's called 6 Years. We've been talking with the best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author Harlan Coben today. Harlan, give out your website. It's a great website, by the way, and people get a hold of the book.
Okay. Well, Harlan Coben's website is harlancoben.com. I came up with that name on my own.
Very original.
I know it's your default homepage, so but if you go to harlancoben.com, you can actually read Chapter 1 of 6 Years for free, so you can try it out for yourself and see if it's for you.
Great. 6 Years is the name of the book. And Harlan, we'll do it again. I guess if you're on the 1-a-year plan, we'll talk to you next year about this time. Thanks for being with us.
Great. Thank you so much, man.